The U.S. intelligence community is now using your tax money to fund the creation of smart clothing. It's called Smart Electronically Powered and Networked Textile Systems, or Smarty Pants. How quaint. The clothing will allow for massive tracking and monitoring of citizens, including audio recording, video capture, and even indoor geolocation. In addition to the Department of Defense spending your money on this, look who else is investing. Vanguard and BlackRock, whose CEO is fond of saying,
"We are forcing behaviors."
Just think, these clothes will have microphones that look and act like threads, and they'll be able to record and transcribe your conversations and send them to wherever. They'll even give you increased exposure to radio frequency radiation. I'm sure that'll be safe. And even if you choose not to wear these clothes, you'll still be tracked by clothes worn by people around you. I'm sure none of this will ever be used to violate your constitutional rights.
This is the next generation of surveillance. For the first time, we actually have permission from the government to show the basic capabilities. It is important for the public to know that some of these capabilities exist.
Engineer Yanis Antoniadis designed the new sensor, known as Argus. With 1.8 billion pixels, it's the world's highest resolution camera. Argus fits inside this pod that attaches to the belly of a UAV. But because much of the work is classified, we can't see the sensor itself.
Because we are not allowed to expose some of the pieces that make up the sensors, so you get to look at pretty plastic curtains.
Also known as Wide Area Persistent Stare, Argus is the equivalent of having up to 100 predators look at an area the size of a medium-sized city at once. This image was taken 17,500 feet above Quantico, Virginia, and covers 15 square miles.
This whole image is at a very, very fine resolution. So if we wanted to know what is going on in any spot along this image, say near this building at this intersection, we can generate a moving image that shows what's going on in the area.
Simply by touching the screen, Antoniadis has opened up a window showing a detailed area, while still maintaining the broader context.
And everything that is a moving object is being automatically tracked. The color boxes represent that the computer has recognized the moving objects. You can see individuals crossing the street. You can see individuals walking in parking lots. There's actually enough resolution to be able to see the people waving their arms or walking around, what kind of clothes they wear. And you could pick the location of where you produce these images anywhere in the entire field of view.
Antoniadis can open up to 65 windows at once and can see objects as small as 6 inches on the ground.
From even 17,500 feet, the white thing that you see flying around is a bird.
Argus streams live to the ground and also stores everything, 1 million terabytes of video a day, which is the equivalent of 5,000 hours of high-definition footage.
So you can go back and say, I would like to see what happened at this particular location 3 days, 2 hours, 4 minutes ago, and it would actually show you exactly what happened as if you were watching it live.
To create the world's highest definition camera, Antoniadis needed to design a new imaging chip. But DARPA, the project's funder, wanted to move fast and keep costs down. So he borrowed technology that most people have in their pockets.
Inside this cell phone, we find a tiny little camera. So if you were to take off the majority of it, you'd be left with an imaging chip. If you were to take 368 of this and make a big mosaic out of them and start shooting images, now you have Argus.
Unlike the Predator camera that limits field of view, Argus melds together video from each of its 368 chips to create a 1.8 billion pixel video stream. This makes it possible to zoom in and still see tremendous detail. Whether Argus has been deployed in the field is classified.
I'm not at liberty to discuss plans that the government...
I'm not joking when I say I'm at the spot, and they are now using facial recognition cameras It's on the door and it's on signage in the shop. We have not gone back to normal in the UK. This has been the start of something massive to bring in communism. It's so simple. How have we gone from not having facial recognition cameras to having a serious pandemic or plandemic and then ended up with facial recognition cameras? This is as serious as what we think. Spar is one of the biggest chains in the UK and they are using facial recognition. I will never shop here again.
What the Spar is doing is much, much worse than what you thought with that facial recognition technology. They're using a company called FaceWatch. Now, FaceWatch is collecting a national database of people's biometrics, people's face, and they could possibly be linking that to another database that has your name, and then they'll be pulling that into another database that may have notes on you. This is government-level organisation linking into a national database. This is absolutely terrifying, and I have no idea how the British government is standing for this. And what makes it worse is it looks like they've just had legislation passed in their favour. You have to understand this is a private company that is operating on a government level. I do not consent to my biometrics being taken when I walk into a shop and then get stored into a national database which other retailers could have access to. This is just another way of the German World Economic Forum getting what they want. And not doing it through our governments, but doing it through private companies. Our government and our secret services need to get their act together. And I just want to point out that this isn't my job to do this. I actually have a job and a business I would like to run, which I've been trying to do for the past 3 years, but instead being having to point out the obvious issues going on in the UK. There is people out there being paid to do what I am doing, which is protect the UK, and many others of us have, and it's got to the point where it's taking the piss. They need to get on top of this before we are all linked in to a private national database that's collecting our biometrics and possibly storing it with notes. And you can bet foreign bodies have a very strong focus on trying to obtain that data. And who's to say that private company doesn't have flaws within their security? They're probably not complying to a lot of security which a government would have to. This is really serious, and I mean, the Spar was a rip-off anyway, let's be honest, but I will never shop at the Spar again. The fact that they are collecting data on not only my face, they are collecting biometric data on everybody who walks into that shop and then sharing it with a national database called FaceWatch. This is disgusting, and we need to get this out of the UK.
This is Psalms 10 and 8. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yashayah, Ba'Shem Kokodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the videos we just watched and the ramping up of surveillance around the world and how that ultimately is going to tie into Esau's New World Order surveillance system that is part of the Mark of the Beast system, okay, or the beast system I should say. But before I get into that, let's read this. This is Obadiah 1 and 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So, from these videos that we just watched, we can see the complexity and the advancement of technology that Esau holds. And when I say Esau, I'm referring to the biblical name for the Caucasian race which currently rules over the earth. Okay? You see, the technology that is out in your everyday, civilian market, the things you go buy in the store, online, or that you own, is old technology. Okay? It's technology that's anywhere from 20 to 50, sometimes even 100 years old, okay? And you see the powers that be, that being the upper echelon of the Edomite power structure, they have access to the latest technology, okay? And things that we have just watched, be it, from the Argus surveillance UAV camera system to the facial recognition system, or the bendable circuits that are going to be going into clothing. These are all technologies that have been out for a while and have been honed and refined so that way they can be used in Esau's upcoming New World Order beast system. And why is that? Well, because you see, these Edomites, they have an agenda. Not every Edomite, right? The majority of these Edomites in the world today are oblivious to what's going on. Your everyday Edomite, Caucasian, your neighbor, your co-worker, they have no idea what's going on. You share these facts with them and they'll be as dumbfounded as the majority of the unassuming public. But you see, for the initiated, as they call themselves, the illuminated ones, right? They have focused their sights on world domination, okay? And this isn't just something recent. This has been in place all the way back from even the beginning of when America was created. You see, the world order, or the New World Order, the one world empire, is an old empire, okay? These Edomites and their occult organizations, from Freemason, Jesuits, Rosicrucians, Satanist groups, they, for the most part, refer to this one world order as the New Atlantis, referencing the old Atlantis, or what the Bible refers to as the Adamites, right? The civilization which was first created upon the earth, which was a worldwide civilization, which ultimately was destroyed, and were the group of people which the Lord pulled Adam and Eve out of, okay? These were also the people from which Cain and Abel found spouses from, okay? So that, just real quick, a real quick digression. You have a lot of silly Christians or people who think they're, smarter than God, bring up that stupid point where that, if it was only Adam and Eve, then who did, Cain and Abel, sleep with? Well, they slept with the people that were in the world at that time. Those people were the Adamites, okay? Well, back to the subject at hand. These Edomites, in all their searching out and sodding up of technology, looking into the mysteries of the physics upon the face of the earth, they've managed to invent, or should I say rediscover, very advanced technology. And those videos we just seen were some examples of this type of technology. Well, why am I showing you this video? Well, because this ultimately all will lead to the beast system. And what is this beast system? Well, it tells you in Revelations 13 and 16 that these Edomites are going to cause everybody on earth, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a implantable microchip in their hand or in their foreheads, okay? And this is going to be the device, the biometric device, which the people who take it are going to use to interact with this new society, right? What is this new society? Well, we've seen it in the third video, right? It's going to be a society where you're going to have to identify yourself using biometric information, be it palm scanners, face recognition systems, or even, drones that are flying around and using facial recognition to either scan people or license plates on cars. You see, Esau wants to be a god, okay? He wants to replace God, and in doing so, he wants to be omnipotent. He wants to be everywhere at once, which is why in that video of that surveillance drone, it told you the immense amount of data that it stores to record live data and to have all this data stored. Now, don't think that Esau is going to run out of hard drive space. This devil stores things for decades, okay? And why is he doing this? Well, because like in his movies that he projects, his agenda, like in Minority Report, for example, these devils want to be able to, let's say in 30 years' time, let's say you get in trouble, okay? And Esau can then search his records and go all the way back to, let's say, 2026. And he's going to look up what you were doing at that time. And he's going to be able to bring up all these records, all these videos of all these facial recognition things, and be able to, pinpoint something out of your past, something that he could hold against you. And this isn't sci-fi. This isn't just me making things up, right? This actor here, Shia LaBeouf, actually came on one of these talk shows and actually spoke about it. Let's read it. He says, I remember we had an FBI consultant on the picture telling me that they can use your ADT security box microphone to get your stuff that's going on in your house. Or OnStar, they can shut your car down. He told me that 1 in 5 phone calls that you make are recorded and logged. I laughed at him, and then he played back a phone conversation that I had 2 years prior. This is Shia LaBeouf speaking about his time filming the movie Eagle Eye. Okay, and Eagle Eye, if you haven't watched that movie, it's a pretty crazy movie. It shows you just some of the lengths of the surveillance that Esau's system has in place. Okay, so again, this is what Esau is seeking for, right? In his New World Order beast system that's going to tie into these Mark of the Beast chips that you're going to need to have to participate in his society. If you don't have these chips either in your hands or your foreheads, then when you get facially scanned or you try to buy something, you're going to come up as a unidentifiable, somebody who doesn't have a chip. There was a movie called Idiocracy, right, where you had somebody from the past travel to the future, where basically the civilization was dumbed down to the point where this average, military man was considered the smartest man on earth. It's a great movie if you haven't watched it. Well, this man didn't have a chip. Okay, he didn't have an identification on his, implanted in him. So when he put his hand to the scanner, it said, that he was an unidentifiable person, and everybody around him at the hospital he was visiting got all scared and they panicked and everything because this man didn't have a chip. Well, that's the future. That's the system that these devils, because of their desire to be God, are seeking to implement. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. So you see, these devils, in their pursuit to become God, to replace him, they're initiating all these godlike powers in the form of advanced technology. This is why they keep advanced technology from the masses, because they need to have something for themselves that the rest of the world does not have. This is why we don't have unlimited energy technology. This is why things are being suppressed, like hydrogen technology, basically running your cars off of water. Free energy devices, when they are found, they are either purchased and then locked away, or the inventor meets an untimely end. You see, these are the lengths which these devils will go to oppress the rest of the world. This is why they are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. Right? These Edomites, they will not stop, until they have everybody completely in subjection. Verse 5, remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things, and now ye know that withholden that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So you see, these devils, these Edomites, they're going to do what the Lord has programmed them to do, which is to attempt to take over the world and to ultimately put everybody else into slavery. Okay, and they're going to do whatever they can to fulfill that agenda, because it's the will of the Lord, though they may not know it, right? These devils think that they're acting on their own accord, but they're going to be doing what the Lord has requested of them, which is to bring forward the beast system and to punish the other nations upon the earth, primarily us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, and Native Americans. And when is this going to stop? Well, it tells you right here, until he be taken out of the way. Okay, who's going to take him out of the way? Only he who now letteth will let, which means God. God is going to have to take these Edomites out of the way. And how's that going to happen? Well, it's going to happen when the Lord returns, and he's going to take down the powers that be, and ultimately reset the earth with new leadership, right? With the Messiah, Yashayah, which is the true Hebrew name of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Until, when he gets established as the ruler upon the face of the earth, and we are appointed as his co-rulers along with him, that's when this is going to end. Until then, we're going to find things like this, right? What does this thing say? My bracelet had a chip in it, right? You're going to start seeing a lot more devices, clothing, and all these different things that we have around us, be it refrigerators, microwaves, stoves, picture frames, etc. Anything you know is going to start being used to track you. Okay, this bracelet, which was a Go Army bracelet, right? What did it have? Well, it had an RFID microchip. You see these lines? These are antennas, and these two dots here are circuits. What the circuit is for? No idea, but more likely it's for some sort of tracking or some sort of identification. But this is what's going to be found in everything: toys, TVs, right, etc. Right? Just recently, they came out with a government leak, right, that went up to WikiLeaks, that showed how the government is basically using these smart TVs to spy on everybody. Okay, this is the future that these devils want. And they're doing it for many reasons. Well, like I just said, one, to fulfill that passion in them to be as gods. And then second, these devils want to sell you things, right? They want to make sure that you're an obedient citizen. This is Wisdom of Solomon 15 and 12. But they counted our life a pastime, and our time here a market for gain. For say they, we must be getting every way, though it be by evil means. And that is what these Edomites are all about, man. From making a buck to establishing their rule. They do it all by evil means. Okay? And these devils are not going to change. Though they come with smooth words and smiling lips, these devils all have the same agenda, right? World control, be it through their corporate powers or their governmental powers, right? This is why right now we're seeing governments working with corporations and hence bringing forward fascism, which is ultimately going to usher in socialism, which is going to go directly into the world communist system, which these devils are going to use to ultimately enslave humanity to a point where humanity will never be able to escape. This is Psalm 64 and 1. Hear my voice, O Yahweh Bashem Yashai. In my prayer, preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. So all these secret technologies, all these secret agendas to gain control and to surveil the people, to track and monitor us Israelites, primarily, because that's ultimately, who these devils are going to try to track and eventually breed out of existence, right? The intentional culling of the human race. It's all part of what it tells you here, right? These secret arrows that they shoot at the perfect. The perfect would be us Israelites, okay? And these devils, they whet their tongue. They basically get ready for this fight, and they set up secret weapons to use in the secret war that is being waged against us in this very moment. But again, this is why you need the Lord on your side. This is why you need to come back and repent. You got to start doing the works that are found in the Bible, hence, so that you could please the Lord, and hence you could then receive that spiritual protection, which will keep you protected from all this wickedness that these devils, these Edomites, are attempting to bring forth. Because again, without the Lord's spiritual protection on your side, you're going to be subject to all these modern day evils that these devils have planned for everybody. Okay? So it doesn't matter how much you prepare, it doesn't matter how many guns you have or how much food you stored away. If you don't have the Lord on your side, and you don't have that spiritual hedge around you, then these devils, they're going to eventually get you, right? What does it say? The secret counsel of the wicked. That's the World Economic Forum. It's all these occult organizations that are planning and setting up all these secret agendas, all to get you to become an eternal slave and eventually depopulate the world to the level that these devils want, which is, what was it, 500 million people? You better rest assured that that number does not include you, your family, or your loved ones, especially if you are of the Israelite lineage, that being the Negro, Latino, and Native American. Why do you think Esau has been searching out people's DNA, recording biometric data, right? There's months ago that these devils set up these chrome spheres around, big cities, and what it did is it basically recorded the people's face and biometric information. In return, these people received some digital currency, right? Some digital, it wasn't Bitcoin, I think it was like Ethereum or something. But this shows you, man, these devils, they're building a case, right? And the case is being built against us Israelites. And those devils, they ain't going to stop, okay? And they're definitely not going to come out and admit this. This is Ezekiel 28:9. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God? But thou shalt be a man, and no God, in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers. For I have spoken it, saith Yahweh B'Shem Yashai power. Moreover, the word of Yahweh B'Shem Yashai came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus saith Yahweh B'Shem Yashai power, Thou sealest up the sun, for full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. So you see, these devils, though they want to exalt themselves as God and they believe that they've won, because again, your Klaus Schwabs, your Noah Harari, your Bill Gates, your King Charles, all these devils who are out there pushing forward for this New World Order, they think they've won. This is why right now they're coming out and blatantly doing everything they're doing, because they feel that they no longer need to hide their agenda, because they feel that they've already won. And now all they got to do now is just continue to play along the playbook to fulfill their agenda. But what's going to happen? The Lord is going to return before they finish their goal, and is ultimately going to destroy these devils and take them out of power and just show them how mortal they all are. King Charles, for example, is getting a perfect taste of this, right? With his recent cancer diagnosis. He's going to find out very soon that he is simply a man and not a God. So, either way, hopefully this video was edifying, Archie. Until next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yashayah, Ba'Shem Kodesh, Shalom.